monsters, aliens, invisible force fields. These are all theories that surround the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is something people are often misinformed on. We are told as school children that it is a small place in the ocean that is sure to cause death and destruction. This, however, is not true and not supported by scientific evidence. I've spent a lot of time researching this phenomenon, as the conspiracy theories that surround it have always intrigued me. It has become quite a bit of a conversation starter for me. Today, I will be telling you about the Bermuda Triangle and explaining what is occurring there from a scientific and factual perspective. In this speech, I will be defining the Bermuda Triangle, giving some examples of tragedies that have occurred there, and finally, I will be explaining why these tragedies are occurring. Let's begin with the introduction of the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is a small place in the Atlantic Ocean located off of the coast of Florida. In a 2021 article by Nathaniel Sharping titled "The Bermuda Triangle, What Science Can Tell Us About This Mysterious Ocean Region," he explains that Bermuda Triangle stretches between Miami, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and finally, the island of Bermuda. Because it stretches between so many places, it's understandable that it is so well known and talked about. The Bermuda Triangle actually gets its name because of its connection to said places. So as we can see, it connects from the coast of Florida to the coast of Puerto Rico and finally to the island of Bermuda. So it has come to form this triangular shape that many of us know and love. In a 2003 article by Hilary Mayhill titled "Bermuda Triangle, Behind the Intrigue," she explains that the Bermuda Triangle actually got its name from a 1964 cover story titled Argosy. Argosy was written by Vincent Gaddis, and it was the story of a Flight 19, that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. This story is actually credited to be the one that, first of all, gave it its name, the Bermuda Triangle, and secondly, made it so well known worldwide and sparked this huge interest in it. Now that I have defined the Bermuda Triangle, I will now be explaining some of the tragedies that have occurred there. With so many tragedies, it's hard to cover it all, so I will only be talking about a few. But in a 2020 article written by Natalie Colarossi titled "Vanished Without a Trace: Inside the Myths and Mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle," she explains that though it is not known of the exact number, over 50 ships and 20 airplanes have disappeared in the triangle, often without a trace. So an example of one of these aircrafts that's disappeared is, like I was previously saying, Flight 19. Flight 19 was supposed to be a routine flight between a bunch of experienced pilots, and they went through the triangle. Everything was going fine, and once they entered, became very disoriented and were never heard from again, or at least that's the story. Ships are also known to vanish without a trace. In the same article by Nancy Colarossi, she explains that in 1967, on this ship called Sylvia L. Osa, there were 37 people that were on a 590 feet. The cargo ship was 590 feet, and there was 37 people on it, and it entered the triangle and also disappeared without a trace. With so many of these disappearances and deaths, it's no wonder people created conspiracy theories that surrounded this phenomenon. Now that I've discussed a few of the tragedies that have occurred in the Bermuda Triangle, I will now be talking about why these tragedies are occurring. So, nature is a very powerful force, and it is often something that's overlooked when people discuss the Bermuda Triangle. And many of these disappearances can be easily explained. In a 2016 article by Mindy Weisberger, she explains that the records kept by the Aviation Safety Network and the U.S. Coast Guard are actually, they reveal that a lot of these disappearances can be linked back to either storm activity in the area, or they can be linked to actual safety issues in the vehicles themselves. This makes complete sense. Nature should have been never overlooked when discussing the Bermuda Triangle. It's something that's out of our reach as mankind. We cannot control the ocean, and we cannot control the air. And on top of that, like she also discusses in this article, we did not have as good of, how would you say it, safety, like, protocols back when a lot of these disappearances happened. So it's no wonder that people didn't quite comprehend what was truly happening. It should also be noted that pilots do not avoid the Bermuda Triangle. It is not something that people are actually afraid of once they're flying. In a 2019 article titled, "Do Pilots Actually Avoid Flying Over the Bermuda Triangle?" written by Andrea Romano, she says that a check on Flight Radar 24 would quickly show you that there are plenty of flights that crisscross over the Bermuda Triangle. This, of course, leads us to know that it is not actively avoided and shouldn't be. So, nature, very powerful force. It is definitely what caused a lot of these disappearances and tragedies that occurred there. Now that we know what's going on in the Bermuda Triangle and what it is, I will now conclude with a quick summarization. So in this speech, I defined the Bermuda Triangle, I explained some of the tragedies that have occurred there, and finally, I explained why these tragedies were occurring. Again, the Bermuda Triangle is a place off of the coast of Florida that has many misconceptions about it because of the conspiracy theories that surround it. However, I hope after hearing this speech, you really understand what's happening there and you can put these childhood confusions to rest. Nature may just be the most terrifying force of them all. Thank you.